y decir presente. So, feliz viernes, happy Friday, everyone. Me imagino que ya están ready para salir de la oficina, ready to leave the office. Me too, but Gladys came in. So, estamos súper listas. Okay. So, vamos a meterle mano.
Yes, let's go. Let's get it.
So, Gladys, hola, hola, hola.
Thank you for having me.
Bienvenidas a Latin Financial and the mess in Latin Financial today.
It's okay. It's all good. We are here live, literally live.
Yeah.
Latin Financial.
So, buenas tardes a todos. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. I just wanted to say thank you to Miss Gladys, the GoEffect. She actually came in for the first time to the office, which we've been trying to connect for a long time. So, finalmente puso los pies aquí en Latin Financial. So, que para tocando madera. So, welcome to Latin Financial y la oficina de aquí.
Thank you for having me. It has been un tiempito that we've been trying to do this, and we're finally here. So, gracias a Dios.
Amen, amen, amen. I've been watching you. I've been, oh my goodness, following you in the well, no, it's not a stalker syndrome. It's I like to know when other females are doing amazing here in Connecticut and the whole U.S. So I love that. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the support and the follow.
So I wanted to introduce you the right way, okay? So I made a couple of notes because obviously I'm pretty sure that everybody knows you, but my friends also from Facebook especially. So I'm going to introduce you. This is Gladys Ortiz. She is the founder and CEO of the GoEffect, okay? She's a life and business coach here in Connecticut and US.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say thank you. I'm not going to say much because obviously that's what we're here for, to talk about different things, how you started the business, how everything, a little bit about you. Yeah. So welcome and tell me a little bit about you.
So yeah, thank you so much again for having me. I am Gladys Ortiz, the founder and CEO of the GoEffect. It's a life and business coaching practice. And wow, to say that we've arrived. I started the business, I want to say it's going to be almost 3 years.
Oh, wow.
But it was very part-time, like many women, alongside a 9 to 5. And I have a heavy background, 24-year career in the financial industry. So, various positions in different organizations in the finance world, in the financial industry. So well-versed in that sector. And then COVID happened, right? And I had a lot of people reaching out to me for coaching, mentoring, and just really, I was like almost like a therapist, right? During that time of isolation. And so what I did was I was like, why am I not coaching on the private sector, right? I've always been a coach and a mentor on the corporate side when it comes to leadership and development, business development, but I never really did it on the personal side.
And that is your background, right?
Yes, that is my background.
What you were doing before, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of corporate leadership, business development, you name it, I've done it in the financial world, right? So I decided to go a little bit private, and I was already doing it. So I literally, and I talk about this, I prayed about it because I had so many people reaching out, and I prayed about it, and I said, God, if this is for me, then show me the way, right? Because I'm a Christian woman. And all of a sudden, the next day, I had my business name, I had the colors, I knew what I wanted to brand myself, so to speak.
That's awesome.
And I was like, this is happening. And I pulled the trigger and I did it. And so I did it part-time alongside my 9 to 5. And then in 2023, I finally decided to cut ties with the financial world and meaning corporate and go off on my own, fully involved in the GoEffect, 100%.
As a Latina in business, and obviously you don't want to mention in every podcast as a Latina, but we have to be shine and we have to be talking about this because it's not easy to go from 9 to 5 to completely on your own.
Absolutely.
How that took place.
Well, there was a transition period, right? So I knew 3 years ago, I said, if this business, I'm doing it part-time because, again, financially, I know I have to have a certain amount in savings. I have to pay off certain debt. Like, so strategically, I had a plan always in place.
I think everybody relates to that.
Yeah, because you sometimes are able to just pull, the plug and say, okay, I'm going knee deep into business.
Yeah.
And a lot of new entrepreneurs, especially me, and we mentioned the word Latina, right? I didn't grow up around a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners. It was be a good girl, go to school, get an education, get a great job, get married, have babies, and that's your life. And so I always knew very early on in my, youthful little eyes, I knew that there was something more out there for me, and I just didn't know what it was. But like you said, it's hard to transition from that corporate safety paycheck, right? Every 2 weeks, all the benefits that go with it, and just really go off on your own where you're trying to figure it out, right? And as an entrepreneur and as a woman owner, CEO, you wear many hats. You're your marketing person, you're your admin, you are your financial person, you got to do the books, you got to do everything, be everything.
And you've been doing that, every single woman, we've been doing that since you can remember. It just, you don't usually utilize it until you're on your own.
Correct. And there's always, like, when you're in corporate, you have a marketing department, you have an accounting department, right? These are people you see on TV.
Yeah.
Yes. But now you're on your own and you're it. So, yeah, being very intentional of where I spend my dollars, right? Because now I'm fully fledged on my own. And if you don't have clients, if you don't book, clients or corporations, organizations, there's no income coming in, right? The safety net of that paycheck. So it's very real. It is very scary. I don't want to downplay it or diminish it in any way.
Yeah.
It is very, very scary at times to be in business for yourself because you don't have the steady paycheck. You don't have the benefits to lean on. So that is, as well as it is scary, it's also super rewarding. The amount of freedom that you have, and I just coached a client on this, is talking about uncomfortable freedom, because as entrepreneurs we have all this freedom, but it can be uncomfortable at times.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, if you are in the first year, the first 6 months, 3 years in, it doesn't matter. You always, I think that purposely, without knowing, you self yourself to, oh my goodness, I can't do this now. It's something that is always on your mind. I always have that battle within myself. It hasn't been easy. Like you said, I didn't have a lot of females entrepreneurs, especially. They have backgrounds. They have college degrees and everything else. And I was in my late life, late age to start this. It was like, holy cow, how can I do this? I didn't have the person to go to and ask for, hey, how did you do it?
Yeah.
Social media wasn't like it is right now. Yeah. So it was everything. It was like, I had to try it. I had to fail.
Yes.
I had to keep going. And it's okay. Even now, if you try something, regardless if it's, doing it on your own or anything that it has to do with your dreams, just go ahead and try it. What's the worst that it can happen? Obviously, you have the background. If it doesn't happen, this is not for everyone.
Correct. That's the other thing.
So nobody talks about that.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, and we see, right, the beauty. I always say the catch-22 about social media is that you see all the beauty, you see all the success, you see the great, people going on trips and, the whole living my best life and, look at me, I'm making money in my sleep, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't show you the ugly side of the hustle and the grind and that real discipline that goes into being an entrepreneur. And that uncomfortable freedom that literally it's like, okay, I no longer have the 9 to 5, I'm chained to a desk. Now I have to create routine. I have to create habits. I have to be intentional where I spend my money, where I spend my time. Yeah. Is this serving me? What lessons did I learn from the failure, right? And it's like, get back up and let's go. Let's pivot and shift a different way. Yeah. And so nobody shows you that.
I think it's our responsibility to actually show them is the beauty and the ugliness in this industry,
absolutely.
Regardless if it's in finances or any other branch. But it is true what you're saying. Sometimes myself, had it. You come with those days that you're like, holy cow, nothing happens like you want. what should I do? Should I, post a video? Should I at least let them know this is not everything roses and oh my goodness, a lot of money coming in? No, it's consistency. It's something that you have to do it. If not, you're not going to make it, regardless if you're 10 years in or 5 years in or 6 months.
I would say I'm like the most successful person still struggles, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The most successful person still sweats. The most successful person still has the mind drama somewhere deep in them, right? Or some type of insecurity. We all are not free from it. We all have it. It just shows up differently for different people.
It's crazy. So let's talk about something first. Obviously, you come from the banking industry, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how you knew that it was the time? How because we can dream it and we can say, oh, next month I'm gonna start. But what I've seen from close friends of mine, is either you do it or you jump in all the way, or not. And that's kind of scary.
Yeah, it is very scary. So I knew it was time for me. Again, 3 years ago, I said, okay, I'm going to start this business. It's going to be part-time. Strategically, my wheels were already turning, right? And so I said, I have to have a certain dollar amount in savings. I have to do this. I have to do that. And so I put the wheel in motion, right? But it was a slow motion because I knew I couldn't physically. I'm very much a planner and I'm very detail oriented. So for me, it was, okay, how does this align? And everything has to be like not the domino effect and go, according to plan, right? But you have to allow grace for those moments where things don't go according to plan. So for me, it was last year. I was really struggling with the leadership in this particular organization, and we just weren't aligned. And a lot of people can relate to this because sometimes you have great leaders in an organization, and this is where I say there's a true difference between leadership and managers, right? Because managers manage processes, they manage policy and procedures. Leaders lead by example. They model certain behaviors that you aspire to be and certain characteristics. And so for me, it was, man, am I going to continue doing this? Then I also did some math, right? And sometimes you're like making all this money for an organization and for a name on the door. And I'm like, what about me? I can do this for me, right? I can do this and obtain a level of financial freedom that is suitable for me and my household.
Yeah.
And I'm a single mom. I have 3 teenagers, right? And my oldest will be 20 this year. I'm like,
I saw your kids. I cannot believe they are adorable.
Thank you. It's so weird to say. I always say I'm well preserved. For those of you asking or wanting to know my age, I am well preserved.
If you have any questions, I know that you're right.
But I can't believe I'm going to have a 20-year-old. But I have college to pay for, tuition, and again, a single mom. And Latina, and trying to make it out there is not easy. So strategically, you have to have a plan. If you don't plan to fail, right? And I think that term really resonates with a lot of people because you can't, as much as you jump into things, you already are, your wheels are turning. So there's some type of plan, but putting it pen to paper, I always say, because some people are very visual. You have to see it. There has to be a reminder. So I was very intentional. I was very fortunate. I knew when it was time for me to go off fully just with the GoEffect and really get it up and running. And so I launched in 2023 just full time into it, knee deep. And I said, all right, this is either going to work or it's not.
Yeah.
And I always said, I have the parachute of I can go back to work a 9 to 5 at any organization, so that's my plan B. But my plan A is the GoEffect. It's really helping people take action. It's really helping women and men transition into their what's next, right?
You said something super important.
Yeah.
People are always talking about female. You don't want to leave the men behind.
No, I have male clients.
Yeah.
So I have male clients. Certain things are women only, right? Like I have a Courageous Growth Mastermind. That is a women's group coaching program that I launched for just women.
Mm-hmm.
But I have male clients. And if you look on my website, you'll see the testimonials from my male clientele because it's important. Men need help too. Men need coaching too. And mentorship. I mean, that's huge. So the GoEffect is really a life and business coaching practice that helps people take action. We talk about, one day I want to do this, one day I want to do that, but we don't take
personal and business.
Personal and business, yeah, because we all think about it. If your personal life is in disarray, your business life is going to quickly is going to go to the toilet. Yeah. So we need to be personally okay in order to be professionally okay and in business be okay, right? And so it's a mindset, and you have to really want to be well with all three of them, both personally and professionally.
In the past year, have you seen, obviously, I've seen a lot of growth in terms about a lot of different events.
Oh, yeah.
Woman-based band and, new businesses, it's a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about, most of them? Does in Connecticut, let's talk Connecticut-based. Does it work for you?
So it does and it doesn't. Because how many times do we often go into an event and we're like, oh my God, mira esta,
you see the same people.
You see the same people, right? And so if you think about the events that you're attending and the purpose of why you're attending the event, right? And some people go into an event or a networking space and say, oh, I really want to connect with this person. Yeah. Or I really want to get something out of it, right? I want to be inspired or motivated some way in some capacity. So it works and it doesn't. And so for me, I teach this in my Courageous Growth Mastermind. It's intentional networking. Why, if I'm investing my money, and that ticket is not cheap. Most of them are not cheap. We're talking $100, $200 to attend an event, right? A well-attended, curated event. And I want to get the most bang for my buck. So what am I doing? Am I being intentional with the connections that I'm making? Am I really booking the one-on-one and really meeting this person and saying, hey, this is my business. Let me hear about your business. How can we collaborate? How can we work together? How can we refer business to one another, right? Mm-hmm. Or am I just showing up and is it like a high school reunion? And it's like, mira, how are you? How are the kids? Oh my God, no te ha visto. Yeah. For our bilingual audience here. No te ha visto en tanto tiempo. ¿Cómo te va? Blah, blah, blah. How's the abuela? And then nothing happens. Right? And that happens a lot of times. So you have to be real intentional. We talk about investing in ourselves in all these events. You have to go in with a plan of attack. And attack meaning I am going to go into this event and I'm going to sit at a table that I wouldn't normally sit at.
That's right.
And I'm going to make a powerful connection with at least 3 women that I don't know and book a one-on-one with them later on, whether it's in person or Zoom. Book the one-on-one. Those are so impactful.
I completely agree with you. Regardless if I do, obviously my company sponsor a lot of different events. Some of them, the same over and over each year because it's a commitment for some of them.
Oh,
but it is true what you're saying. I mean, I would love to see if they have more events, but for speakers out of the state. We got plenty in Connecticut, don't get me wrong, absolutely. But you want to learn more, want to learn, it's like you said, you want to go outside your comfort zone in order to do better because, in my late 50s, I wanted to learn more. I wanted to actually, if I see a younger generation, I can learn from you. I can do things that I don't usually, I see myself that I always do little things just to do them, because at the end of the day, I'm going to say, that worked, that didn't.
Yeah.
Same for personal or Latin financial. Correct. So at least, I'm very lucky when I started. I'm very lucky that I have, so many supporters. I learned that throughout, Latin financial, there was a lot of friends, people that I knew in the community that now they're super, friends of mine.
Yeah.
So you learn through the old, through the young, and through everybody in between. But let's talk about something else. Why the name GoEffect? That I really wanted to know.
Oh, okay. So I pride myself on, and I use the word influencer, not as an influencer of social media, but I impact people's lives, right? And so something that is powerful within me, and I didn't cherish as a child growing up, is my name is Gladys, and it's a very old name. And a lot of people are go, oh my gosh, I expected someone older, right? Ese nombre viejito, like eso es de una señora, Doña Gladys. So I aspire to be Doña Gladys one day. Pero, Gladys Ortiz, so it's go. My initials are go, and go means taking action. It means let's go, let's get it, right?
I love it.
And so I impact people's lives. And so I said, I am the GoEffect. I help people take action.
I love that.
So that's really where, and so, my name and my colors. I'm a pinky girl. I love the color pink. I didn't wear pink today because it's raining in New England here and it's a dark gray day. So I said, you know what, let me be fall festive, but even though it's winter. But yeah, that's really where the name came from. Gladys Ortiz, go. My initials mean go. And affect. I affect people in every way. I help you take action. I'm an influencer by way of impact.
I love that. I really do. I really do. I wanted to actually have this conversation with you for a long time and not over Zoom and not over the phone. So I'm glad that I have those answers. Also, what is your plan for the next? I'm not going to say a year because a year passed by so quick.
Like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the for you and for the GoEffect? What do you want to do?
So right now we're working on a few things. My marketing team and I, we've really put our heads together, and we're trying to come up with different ways to reach organizations. And one of the things that I really pride myself in is financial literacy. Yeah. So we have some teen workshops coming up because again, it starts from our teenagers when they get their first jobs. And one of the things that I wish I had growing up was someone to mentor or coach me on finances, right? We don't know what we don't know. And I remember mommy, God rest her soul, my mom has been gone now, it'll be 18 years, but I remember mommy going to, you know, these organizations where you could rent your furniture because we couldn't afford to pay for furniture, you know, cash or pay for things instantly. So I remember I come from the layaway days where
my goodness, like, we're good.
Chacha, we used to go and pick out our clothes and I didn't see it for 2-3 months because, you know, again, we had a payment plan. My mom didn't know about credit, right? Both my parents are from Puerto Rico.
That's something that you know 100%. Everybody can relate because our moms, I'm sorry, mom, if you're listening, nobody told us.
No, nadie nos enseñó. So that's something that's near and dear to my heart, financial literacy. Y empezando con los niños, teenagers, because they get their first job, they get summer jobs. As we think about this, we need to tell our kids are getting their jobs and their first paycheck, they're like, woohoo, $180 y gastado in a pair of sneakers. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to sound naive or insensitive, but Michael Jordan doesn't pay for dinner, so I'm not buying Jordans with that money.
I think we're having a different conversation sitting, you know, on the tables, you know, with our kids. I think it's completely different now. I think that we know the difference between, okay, we got to do it, you know, we have to teach them in order for them to continue to have a healthy financial freedom, you know.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that I really love is again the financial literacy starting with teens. So we'll have a teen workshop coming up this year.
Oh, that's amazing.
So teaching financial literacy. It'll be free, and it'll be in Connecticut, but it'll be a free event for ages between 15 and 19. So I'm excited for that. Again, it starts at home. We got to educate our children. They have to make better decisions. They have to have healthier relationships with their money. So they don't repeat mistakes, right? And we create this generational wealth that we all talk about, but what does it look like?
What are you doing?
Like we talk about this thing, but really what does it look like, right? And so creating that. So I have that. We have something that we're launching, a potential subscription for coaching. I get a lot of women that say, you know, I can't afford coaching. I wish I can afford to invest. And you can. There are various ways, and I work with a lot of women, and I have payment plans for my one-on-one clients that want to work with me one-on-one. But we're working on a way to make it safe. So financially, they get inspired, encouraged, and motivated to take action for what's next, but they also, it's affordable. So I'm working on that type of subscription.
I do totally agree. You know what? I did a research before you came in, and I knew that it was expensive in terms about the one-on-ones. You know, and don't get me wrong, I thought about it, you know, for myself before, but it is expensive.
Yeah.
And you don't know, you know, you have to establish that relationship first. You know, to at least to see if you're compatible with that person. If you know, if you follow them and you know that, you know, that's going to click, and if you respect them as a, you know, because now it's personal, they have a personal life, but it's the same as the business. Everything is all together, you know, social media, no matter what, is all together blending one. And me personally, I'm pretty sure most of you know that I'm trying to stay away from a lot in financial in terms about personal life in business, and it has been impossible for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they know the name and then you're Sonia.
Yes.
It's like a one-on-one. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that balance is vital to sustainable too, because you can't go and not expect to crash, right? And so that's one of the things I coach on too, is really honing in and organizing yourself so that you are able to balance out personal and business. I mean, my clients are phenomenal. They've all, like, I mean, you could read my testimonials on my website. I've worked with some incredible people, men and women, and primarily what my ideal client, and we were just talking about this today, was I work with a lot of high achieving women. I mean, and they're just like, hey, I have this idea and I need to monetize it. Or, you know, I'm multi-passionate about X, Y, and Z. How do I make this work for me? And so we strategize and we come up with a plan. And then I love weekly coaching sessions. So when you work with me one-on-one, you get the one-on-one weekly coaching sessions because I want to hold you accountable week by week. And if the strategy is not working, we're able to pivot quickly next week, right? And it's just like, okay, that didn't work. Let's go somewhere. Let's go a different direction the following week.
And it's okay not to work. You know,
of course, that's how you learn. Yeah. That's how you learn. I think it'd be foolish to think that someone could go at something. I mean, it's the very definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result.
Times are changing. You know,
absolutely.
what do you think that the women's are? Because, you know, most of the people that I follow, and I follow a lot of people outside the U.S., in the U.S. as well. Mm-hmm. And what I see is everybody's talking about the same thing. Oh, how can I monetize, you know, social media and everything else? And I think that in between it has lost the sense of I care for you.
Yes, the community.
Because I have to monetize and make money.
Yes.
And that for me, it's just a turn off in terms about, okay, you know what, I don't agree with you. And that's okay not to agree to agree.
Yeah.
But then it's going to lose the translation about why are you here in the first place.
It all goes back to your purpose, right? Like, why did you initially get on social media? I mean, social media, I will tell you, when I first launched the GoEffect almost 3 years ago, I was scared, and you could go back to my first video on Instagram. My first video, so I had a ring light because I thought I had to do all the things, right? Yeah. So I went on Amazon, I ordered the ring light, I ordered the tripod. Like, you should have seen, this was a whole setup. I was playing jazz in the background because I was like, okay. I had a suit on.
Because I did the same thing.
Yeah. So I'm just like, right, this is our war story. We share a war story is what I call it, right? I had a suit on, and I thought I had to look in the camera, and I thought I was like a news anchor. Like, I was like, hi, I'm Gladys Ortiz from GoEffect. Right? And how many of you can relate? Your first video is super awkward, super uncomfortable. And I was like, I thought in my mind, right, I had the mindset where I was like, I played this professional person for 24 years. That's how I have to show up in business too. And then I quickly learned, right, that you created this business for it to look and feel like you. And so I was like, no, I'm Gladys Ortiz from the GoEffect. I'm fun, I'm funny, I'm approachable. I don't take myself too serious, right? And I can do this, and I created this on my terms and my way. And so I have to live up to that, and I have to show up like that and like my true authentic self. And I say this all the time. I show up, you will see, if you look at some of my videos, I have makeup on, no makeup on, hair done, hair not done. I don't care. I
try to do everything.
I show up like me. I don't need to be prim and proper to show up. I don't have to read from a script. I know what I know, and no one can take it away from me. And that's the beauty in creating your own business and doing it your way. And the people will follow you and love you for you. And listen, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm not everybody's coach, right? That's okay too. I'm okay with that. And I always say, not every dollar is my dollar, right? Because I book a consultation with individuals. When they book their consultations with me, a lot of times I've said no to people to work with them. And they were willing to pay in full my full package, my 6-month coaching package, which is not cheap, and they were willing to pay. And I said, no, I don't think we're a good fit. I don't think I'm the right coach for you. But I have no problem referring you to other fellow coaches that I know. So,
and that's the line. I think that the customers, they either judge you, because that happened to me as well. You can tell if you can work with someone or not, and I think that, this year, a lot of things, for my end, in terms, like you said, when we started talking, it was about talking about the bad too.
Yeah.
you know, people, they think, okay, you know what, let me apply. And if they don't get approved right away, oh no, you know, it's not okay.
Yeah.
It's a process for everything. It's a process for every single industry. It's a process for how you perceive and how you give information to people. So I think that that's why this platform came up, you know, and I love it. I have fun with it, you know, with my English and Spanish, with my, you know, in between.
Our
And
Spanglish.
yes, and listening to the stories, because you know what? If we don't know, I mean, you know, I follow you, but this is another level, because now I get to know the real you.
Absolutely.
And the little time, I'm like, oh, she did this, and you know, and that communication, I love it. I'm so proud of what you're doing. First of all, I'm the first one to say, continue your dreams, continue, you know, that passion that you have, and like you said, try it or not try it, it's your journey, you know.
Correct.
You know, it's gonna be amazing. So let's check if we have any questions. Sorry, the phones are ringing in the other line, but it's okay. Oh my goodness, that's good. Oh, Lilian. Hola, Lilian. Miriam, ¿cómo está? Joshua. If you have any questions, si tienen preguntitas, me dejan saber aquí.
Yes,
obviamente.
ask all the questions. We welcome questions.
And alive, okay, wave. I'm gonna have to take a crash. I know that I have some things in there, but I can't seem to, because I don't want to go completely off.
Well, let me tell you this. We have a journal coming out too. One of the things that I love and I always coach to is journaling. And I have a different way, because people always say, oh, you should journal about this. You should journal about this. Not everything is journaling, because some people are not avid journalers, and I'm not an avid journaler. I will journal when I feel inclined to do so, and that's what I coach to. But I have a different method, and I want to share this with everyone because maybe it'll resonate and land for someone. We do a thought dump, right? And it's where we go crazy in our mind, and there's all kinds of things circling and rotating in our minds, and we write it all down, right? And that's not journaling. That's not journaling. That's thought dumping. That's your brain literally putting it pen to paper. I have this, I want to do this. And it's not a to-do list. It is just, I have this idea, I want to do this, I'm feeling this way about this, I'm feeling that way, I have these thoughts that come up about said thing, right? Those are true thought dumps. You're just like, blah, 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 mile a minute, just go,
Everything
go, go,
that
go,
you come out in
Yeah.
your mind, you're right. Yes.
Write it.
Yeah.
And then journaling is super intentional. It's, you know, today, it's not a Dear Diary. It's today I feel like this about my business. And this makes me feel like this. And this is a strategy that's working for me. This is what's not working for me. This is what went well. This is what didn't go so
So you
well.
can actually go back and read it and
Correct.
just fix. Okay,
So when you're journaling, this is very intentional. And this is you refocused, regroup after the thought dump that you went through, right? After the, you know,
Yeah.
now you're intentional, now you're focused, now you can really write specific and with intentions that journal prompt or about said feelings or about said thoughts. And also, you know, take action on them. And I use it as a tool. And for those of you that are wondering or new to us or have questions, please feel free to ask. But one of the things that I love about this process is going back and reflecting, right? I have a journal prompt from when I started my business, and it's, again, almost 3 years ago now. And I go, wow, I am so not that person. And I can't believe that Gladys then, on such date, felt like that. Because the Gladys now would be like, girl, bye. Yeah, like I'm just like, mira, eso es lo que tú estabas, you know, preocupada. And I'm like, Ave María, that's not a big deal. That's an evaluation.
A veces uno se preocupa por unas cosas que son insignificantes. By the time that the time passes by, you look back and you're like, eso nada más. Ay, mira, eso yo lo hice fácil.
And I do that with, if I wrote something down, right? If I journaled a month ago, if I journaled a week ago, I'm able to evaluate and reflect on that, you know, as time goes. You could do that even a day. If you journaled yesterday and today you woke up totally different, you go, wow, that was my issue for yesterday, or that's how I was feeling, or my God, it doesn't look as daunting as it once looked. So that's why I like the thought dumping process. I like the intentional journaling, and I use it as a tool to reflect and evaluate past.
I love it. what do you recommend now that, we're talking a little bit about everything, and I know time has been, it's good. So that means that it's like a conversation. You guys are still there listening.
Yes.
So what do you recommend, or what are the pointers that you will give a person that is looking to make a change in their life, but they don't know how?
Definitely seek out help, right? And I don't say that just because I'm a coach, and I'm not saying that, I'm the perfect coach for everyone again, but hire a coach.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, it is life-changing. I'm a coach. I hired a coach, and I said, hey, I know what I know, but what I don't know, I need to pick your brain. I need a different perspective. I need a different lens to view something, right? I also know that as humans, we struggle with decision making. And that's something that, if you hire a coach, and if you hire the right coach for you, right? And that's why consultations are super vital to this process, right? When you pick a therapist, you don't go, I was going to say the yellow pages, but then I'd be dating myself. We don't have yellow pages.
Yeah,
we don't Google,
hey, it wasn't that bad.
I know, right? Like, yes. I'm like, I remember the phone book. So again, well-preserved people, well-preserved. But we don't Google the therapist and we go, okay, the first one that comes up, we're like, yep, that's my therapist, right? No, it's a process of elimination. So the same thing as a coach or a mentor that you hire, right? You have these consultations. Some people charge for their consultations.
Yeah,
I know coaches that charge for their consultations. I do not, and at the GoEffect, we do not. So we don't charge for consultations. It's very intentional that I spend 30 minutes with you as a prospect or potential client and figure out how I can help you, right? Because you're only as successful as a coach as your client's results.
To get in contact with you for a free consultation, how is the best way? Obviously, you have different avenues.
Yeah, Instagram, the Facebook, my website, thegoeffect.com. Feel free to go on there. There's a list of services that we provide. I do have coaches that I hire per diem to work on certain things or certain initiatives, like my mastermind. So that's all well in there, but book a 30-minute consultation with the GoEffect, see if it's a good fit, but it's vital to your transition, right? No matter if you're starting a business, if it's professional growth, if it's a new position that you're seeking, if it's a new transition in life, right? I mean, talk about the average human being has at minimum one life-changing event per year. Some of them even more, right? So you need a coach to help guide you through that process and help you process those decision-making things faster.
I'm going to ask you two different questions, okay?
Yeah,
So because, if we want to, get to the point of certain things.
Yes.
Okay. This coming year, do you have a person that you would like to collaborate? It doesn't have to be connected, anyone. Who and why?
Ooh. Okay. So, there is a powerful Latina that I follow.
We're going to tag her in this.
I love her. Her name is Nelly Galan. She is a beast when it comes to, she was a single mom. She has a son, and she is in the real estate game. She's all about, and recently she posted on Instagram how she was traveling in Australia and just going different places with her son and just really taking in and being present in that moment. And she's what I believe to be the true version of financial freedom. She's powerful, and she's created all this, and she's done it, and she's opened the doors to other Latinas to be out there and put themselves out there. And she's like, you know what? If the average man can sit at this table, I want to sit at this table too. And she's done phenomenal work. I mean, she has a vast background, and she's just incredible to watch. And I love to see her just enjoying all the fruits of her labor that she's created, that wealth. And she's a Cuban immigrant from Cuban.
I think I know what you're talking about.
She's phenomenal. Yes. She's a powerhouse. She has this raspy, cool voice too that I'm just like, God, if I could hang out with her for like a day or a lunch, that would be great. Awesome. And I'd pay Nelly. I'd pay our lunch bill.
So now you're going to have to tag her, and now we're going to have to follow her to see more.
She's incredible. Her. She's incredible. Yeah.
That's awesome. And, okay, so here in Connecticut, do you have a... ¿cómo puedo decir esto? Una persona que, tú admiras muchísimo, que ha paved, the road for us as Latinas. It doesn't have to be in your industry, but I wanted to give a shout out to anybody that you always look up to in Connecticut, because we're here. I just want to make sure that somebody from here, if you do have someone, it could be a school, it could be anybody that impacted your life here in Connecticut.
Wow. I never gave that much thought, right? Because we always think globally, or we think someone like a celebrity out of reach.
Oh, that's good. I'm going to ask the same question to all my guests.
Yeah, no, Connecticut locals. So, on the spot here, there's so many great, I can't pinpoint one, because there's so many great, powerful women doing a movement, especially here in our small little nutmeg state of Connecticut, that are really implementing change and are really leading the charge for us to continue it and have the next generation come up too. So there's so many, so I can't pinpoint one. But I'm proud to be in Connecticut. I think that being in Connecticut, we're in between two of the greatest cities in the world, right? New York and Boston. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know, but I think our state is great because you can get anywhere within 2 hours, right? And again, we live in between two of these great cities.
And we're going to make it great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we have so many opportunities to impact globally, right? Other states can learn from us. They really can. Yeah. Because we're a small state, but we're mighty. And we get things done. And I think one of the proven things was during COVID, right? I mean, regardless of what side of the coin you sat on during COVID, our state did a phenomenal job keeping people safe, regardless of what your political views were, what side of the house you sat on.
With other states, correct. The news, it was.
I mean, you're in.
I felt that safer.
Correct. Yeah. I felt safer too. Like I was like, thank God I don't live in said state, right? And I was like, thank God I'm a Connecticut native. And you've seen an influx of that by way of New York and Jersey and people from Pennsylvania moving to our state, right? We have an influx of people moving to Connecticut because they're like, man, yeah. So, I mean, if you think about it, we've done a great job. So, and that's really attributed to our leadership. Again, regardless of what your political views are, it doesn't matter. I feel we could always do better, right? I mean, again, there's pros and cons to everything. There's no perfect political system, perfect municipality, no perfect state. Like, it just is what it is. But I think we did a great job. And I think that goes to a little bit of everyone and our fabulous citizens in the state of Connecticut too, because I think we all contribute. I think when there's harm, there's a lot of harm, right? Yeah. But when there's good, there's a lot of good. And we have a lot more good.
Totally agree with you.
Than anything. And one of the people that as I'm saying that, is my friend Lily Simbarrera. If you don't know her, you better get to know her. Follow her on Instagram and Facebook. And she does coffee time with Lily. You'll see her. She does her mug, and it's so cute.
And everything she does for homeless and the people in the interviews, and it's incredible what she's been doing on her own. Am I add?
Correct.
Doesn't she is? Oh wow. Since I met her, it's an incredible person.
Oh, yeah.
Human being. So, Lily, un shout out para ti, mi
amor.
Eres increíble. De hecho, I'm going to be with Lily in 2 weeks on a Monday. I don't know the date, but
she's a living, breathing example of the beauty that's in our state.
Oh, yeah.
And the movement and the charge. And she's out there in the streets making things happen, placing people, advocating for the voices that are not heard. Yeah. And I just think that's incredible. And that is a true testament to the more good than there is bad out there. So shout out to Lily.
Yes. We got to talk about one more thing, civic engagement. I don't talk politics, but women and Latinas in Connecticut, they have to vote this year. This is so pivotal year. What are your thoughts, without, you don't have to say anything in each way, but what do you recommend, or what can you say to them so they can go ahead and vote?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my biggest pet peeves is people talk about, oh, my vote doesn't matter, or my voice isn't heard. And I'm like, well, you don't put yourself out there. You have to put yourself out there. You have to vote, right? Register to vote, people. This is a pivotal year, an election year, right? A lot of the things that people don't understand, right? They're like, oh, well, that doesn't really pertain to me. So no. I will be the first person to say that I don't vote with a party. I vote for how issues affect me, my household, right? Because that's what matters to me. So I'm from the heart. What matters to me? Me and my 3 kids.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, listen, and the way of the future, right? And so I think it's pivotal that we go out there and vote. I think our voices matter. I think it starts from your town, those town elections, right? People think, oh, it doesn't matter. This election is just for the mayor or for this or for that or the state representative. If you don't know who your state representative is, shame on you, right? Yeah, if you don't know who your mayor is, shame on you. So get out there, get involved just by voting. Every vote counts. And I don't think that people really see it that way. And Latinos, I feel like we're easily swayed because we're not informed. And I don't say this to sound naive because I do believe we have a vast spectrum, right? We have from the highest and educated, well-versed person to the lowest of the person that's in, perhaps in a low poverty stricken area of life and doesn't know, right? There has to be somewhere where we're educating more people and getting more people and encouraging to vote, no matter what side of the vote you're on. But you have to get out there. You have to educate yourself. You have to know what's going on. And most importantly, how it affects you. Because they're like, oh, mira, I don't no cualifico por esto. Y esto es so and so.
That's one of the reasons you gotta get involved so we can make changes for the future. So,
how do we make change if we don't know what's out there? Yeah. How does your voice heard if you don't speak up?
I think, females, me personally, I think everybody's so scared because it's been so crazy, 4 or 5 years now, after COVID, everybody would, say certain things, don't say certain things, you know what, I would never tell you, okay, vote for certain, person or not. No, like you said, see your pros and cons, and your family's always first. But take your time. We I don't talk politics, but I have to bring it up because
absolutely.
It's so important. So,
but every decision comes from the heart, right? Like when we make a decision, when we spend money, it's from our heart. It's like, oh, I'm gonna buy a new car. Oh, okay, and it's either out of need, but it comes from the heart, right? You're not just gonna buy like, the beater car, right? You're like, okay, this is what I have to do. There's thoughts, and your heart and your mind work together, and that's how I think you should vote. And sometimes we get it right as a country and sometimes we get it wrong. And guess what? That's why there's terms and there's revoting. And again, I think of the people that don't have this privilege, right? That other countries, they're told what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and don't have a say. We have a say. So use our say.
Absolutely. So bravo for that. And last but not least,
yes.
¿Qué tú le dices a los latinos clientes tuyos? Because we're gonna have to say something in Spanish aquí. So, ¿qué tú le dirías a todos esos clientes latinos o fuera de acuérdate, tú ofreces servicios fuera también de Connecticut?
Yes.
Entonces, de coaching.
Yes.
So, para todas esas personas que están escuchándote, ¿cómo los podrías ayudar? Tú sabes, en el lenguaje de ellos, porque obviamente somos latinas, pero otra cosa es que hablemos el español para ayudarles.
Sí, yo siempre le digo a la gente, mira, como mi amiga Millie, que dice, mi English is not very good looking.
Ay, I love her. I really see that.
Yes. Yo siempre le digo, mira, te voy a hablar en el idioma que yo me siento más cómoda. Y es Spanglish.
Yeah. Oh, sí.
Because yo aprendí el poquito de español que yo sé, era porque en casa de mi abuela, viendo novelas, viendo a Walter Mercado, because esa televisión no se cambiaba de Univisión. Y eran las novelas de las 7, de las 8, de las 9, y después las noticias con Walter, con el horoscope. Entonces, así fue que yo aprendí el español. Entonces, yo siempre digo, no sé mucho, pero de lo poquito que sé, te voy a dar el gift of coaching.
Lo has hecho perfecto. Are you kidding me? Eso es fenomenal.
Yo ayudo cuando pueda, a los que puedan, como quiera. El mensaje siempre va a llegar.
Sí, va a ser el mismo, es la ayuda, Eso es bueno, eso es bueno. So, no contesté preguntas, pero vamos a contestar preguntas cuando esto esté over, porque imagínate, pero me alegro que hayas venido para acá esto.
Gracias.
Próximamente te voy a dar el vino o el café, el que quieras. Ustedes decidan. You can decide if it's wine or coffee for next time. Pero no, muchísimas gracias por venir y estar aquí en la Latina Show.
Thank you.
Y obviamente estamos aquí para ayudarles. Cualquier pregunta, cualquier lo que sea, si no te puedo ayudar, te paso para allá. Si ella, igualmente, para eso que estamos, that's
Yes.
what we're here for.